What's going on, everybody? My name is Mario. This is a channel all about amusement park type stuff, but mostly coasters. And today we're going to be taking a look at Woodstock Express at Kings Island, Kings Dominion, and Carowinds.
I'm gonna rank every coaster and give them a review. Every drop and every hill, every launch and every loop. Rate it 1 to 10 and then we'll do it all again. Gonna rank and review every coaster.
In 2022, I had the pleasure of visiting Carowinds, Kings Island, and Kings Dominion, where I rode Woodstock Express at each park for the first time. And let me just say, this is a great family ride that fits into each park's coaster collection beautifully. This coaster is an increase in thrills from a true kiddie coaster, so it provides a nice stepping stone for kids that are looking to get on slightly bigger rides. And with a relatively low height requirement of just 40 inches to ride with an adult, this coaster is accessible to pretty much anyone that would be ready to ride it. While these three vibrantly painted wooden coasters certainly have their minute differences that make them unique, we'll first focus on what makes them so similar, and that is their near identical ride experience. Now, getting onto Woodstock Express is great for kids, but a bit awkward for adults. Aside from the obvious shame that you'll feel if you are riding this ride without a child, you'll likely have a hard time fitting. I'm about 5'11", 200 pounds, and I just barely make it on the ride. Also, just stepping into this ride is scary because the train is so low that my buddy Zach and I almost fell out of the back of the train while loading. The restraint system for Woodstock Express consists of a lap bar that locks in a set position and a retracting seatbelt. And I think it's good that this ride has a redundant restraint system because, that lap bar is nowhere near anyone's lap, again, unless you are a larger adult. So without that seatbelt, kids would just be flying all over the place. The ride layout starts with a right-hand U-turn out of the station into the lift hill, which will take you up to your modest top height of 38 feet. Or at least around that height. This stat varies a tad depending on where you look. The first drop has a gentle but fun slope, and in the back row you get a surprising little pop of floater airtime. And I guess now would be a good time for me to mention that I've only experienced this coaster in the back row, so I'm not entirely sure how the ride experience compares elsewhere. You then head up into a slow-paced left-hand turn that leads you into a pretty substantial drop. This drop is definitely smaller than the first, but it feels much more abrupt, leading to a quick jolt of stronger airtime in the back row. Now, if you're specifically looking for a tamer ride experience, I definitely recommend sitting anywhere other than the back car, as all the other roads, at least from what I could tell, seem much more tame on this drop, but also overall. But if you are like me and just riding this coaster to have a little bit of fun and add to your coaster count, then I definitely recommend seeking out the back row, just for those first two drops. Following that fun drop, you have another little dip that goes under the lift hill, and this doesn't provide too much by the way of forces, but it certainly is a fun, faster-paced element. You then head into another slow-paced turnaround, sending you back in the opposite direction and delivering you to the ride's third drop. This one isn't as steep or abrupt, so you don't really feel as much on it. The hill that follows is more of the same, providing a fun change in elevation with minimal forces. The final turnaround sends you into the only part of the layout that differs from park to park, which for Kings Dominion is an additional small hill. And for Kings Island and Carowinds, after the final dip, you head directly into the elongated final brake run. So this is a nice little family coaster that is still fun for older guests. It is also worth mentioning that this isn't the smoothest coaster in the world, but you're going so slow that it's not uncomfortable in the slightest. It's just a tad bumpy. And since these coasters are great for what they are, in my book, they get a rating of 7 out of 10. But now let's take a look at each Woodstock Express individually and see where they rank. Woodstock Express at Carowinds is my least favorite, but by no means does it do anything wrong. This is the most recent of the 3 coasters to open, first taking riders in 1975. The only reason that it is placed below the other 2 is the purple and yellow paint job, which I still think is so fun, but I'm a sucker for blue, so the other 2 coasters have the slight edge for me in that regard. Out of the 272 coasters I have been on, this one lands at 206. There's nothing wrong with it, I'm just not the target demographic as someone that is looking for a higher excitement and intensity factor. On to Kings Island, like many things at the park, Woodstock Express is blue, so I like it better. This was an opening day attraction for the park back in 1972, and it is the oldest of these 3 coasters. It ranks at number 205. At King's Dominion, Woodstock Express was the first ride built, opening in 1974. This iteration offers the same blue color scheme, and in addition to that, it has that aforementioned extra hill at the end of the coaster that gives it an undeniable advantage over the other 2 Woodstock Expresses. So it lands at number 204. And there you have it. Let me know what you guys think of Woodstock Express in the comments down below. Make sure to give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe and turn on notifications for more content like this. Thank you guys so much for watching till the end, and make sure to tune in next time where I'll be talking about another family ride. Woo!